All right, everybody, welcome back to Rock Titan Live. I am Scotty J, and man, we got an awesome guest with us right now. A couple weeks ago, when I was reviewing this brand new album that was coming out from a band that I didn't think was ever going to be possible or happen again, I didn't think I'd be talking to this guy, but here we are with Nixon from
What's up,
Framing
man?
Hanley. How you doing, dude?
Good, man. Good. It's kind of a crappy day outside. Do I have to say crappy, or can I?
Oh
I guess.
yeah, no man, yeah.
I guess I need to know on the front end what kind
Yeah,
of
we want we want to
answer.
keep it somewhat friendly,
Okay,
but
okay.
you got
That's
kids.
always good to tell me. That's
Yeah.
always good to tell me.
Well, you've got kids now,
Yeah, I've got
like
kids, man. But when I usually, I mean, we're not on stage right now, but on stage, I had some of my the other night at our release show. Some friends, some like soccer parents friends from my kids, and like they're like, yeah, that was quite a bit different than what we're used to seeing here. I was like, yeah, sorry, I got a bit of a potty mouth, so I always try to find that out on the front end before we get going. So my bad on that, but
yeah,
good to know now. I'm
yeah.
doing fantastic, crappy day outside, but good to be here with you, man.
Good man, good. That's good to hear. Yeah, man. Down there in Nashville, my God, I mean, it's like if you're a musician or if you just love music, that is the town to be in, man.
Or food, if you love good food. We're
Right,
we're kind of a
right.
foodie town now. It's not all about music anymore. Yeah, man. Like I was telling you before we got started here, one of the few uh, like locals that's not a transplant here in this city anymore. I feel like I was born and raised here. Very fortunate. I couldn't wait to get out of here when I was a kid, growing
Right.
up in high school, and then with FH we kind of toured the world, and I saw how lucky I was to be from Nashville. So yes, very proud to call this home, and it's a much different city. I am the old guy. Like when friends come through here and stuff now, they're like, "What should we do?" I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know anything about my city anymore.
You're one of the town elders.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's funny, I mean, we're talking about language on stage a little bit ago and, being down there all this time. And, of course, we're here to talk about Envy, that came out just a little over a week ago from Framing Hanley, and we will get into that. But I guess all that being said, from the last time that you were making music to now, your personal life has changed quite a bit, huh? I mean, you got three kids, is that right?
Yeah. I'm raising a
Wow.
baseball team over here.
Man, you're
Actually, I
getting
guess
there.
soccer team is more appropriate.
Or
I
football.
won't
I know you're a football fan, right? Maybe they'll
I
be
won't
playing
let
for the
them. I
Jacksonville
won't
Jags
let
one
them
day.
play. Yeah, I won't let them play football, man. As
No?
much that I love, I would say it's borderline. My love for football is borderline above how much I love music, and I won't let them play. I won't let them play football. So it does suck because my my middle son, he's 7, not
Right.
42, not a middle age. Um,
Right.
he he's the athlete of the three, and he wants to play football. And he told me he wanted to play because he wanted to hit other people. And I was like, yeah, you're definitely not playing then. If that's the reason you want to play, we'll sign you up for jujitsu or some.
Oh yeah,
I,
because that's not a dangerous sport at all, man. You
but
know?
it's not. It's not combat sports right now. It's jujitsu. He's doing. It's more about guard passing and takedowns. And I mean, dude, he's
Breaking bones
taking
in
a
half,
not yet. Not if you tap.
Oh, you're
Not if
right. Not if you
not if these
tell.
parents are raising, smart kids. They're gonna tap, and my son gets him in the arm bar.
Right on, right on. Well, there is flag football, Nixon. So you could wean him
I
in
don't
that way.
I don't know though, man. The concussion rate for kids, playing flag
Uh,
too is pretty scary.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
awesome. He loves soccer as well.
All
So
right, all right.
the real football, I guess, as
The
some people
real
might
football.
might call
Yeah.
it, not located here in America, but yeah, he does love that, and he got that from his mom. His mom was a collegiate like a bad ass soccer player growing up, and
Oh wow,
so
wow,
he
that's
got that
cool.
from her. But
So the athlete mom and the rock star dad. That's not a bad combination
now
to have in your
hold on,
DNA.
hold on. I didn't say she was the athletic like I still like to take credit for the athletic genes as well.
Right.
Um, Yeah, it's funny. It'd probably be the opposite story where the athlete would say that they wish they could take credit for the music part, and then the music parent would say they want to take credit for the athletics. But we're just lucky to have three little hellraisers, man, and that's why that was part of the reason why we walked away when we did 5 years ago, was just, I didn't want to watch my kids grow from the road. I wanted to be there and be present. And, here we are 5 years later and are able to do that while also doing music. And, yeah, I'm sure we'll touch more on that, but it's for the right reasons this time. And it's not,
That's awesome.
There's no sacrifices for it.
That's awesome, man. Very, very admirable. And, might as well start talking about Envy now and to come back of Framing Hanley. I mean, not that, like you said, I mean, you had all the reasons why you felt you needed to step away, some years back. Yeah. But when you did that, at that point in time, did you ever feel like that was going to be something that was a permanent move for you? Not that you were ever going to necessarily leave music, but did you feel that Framing Hanley as a band itself was definitely done? And if you did come back to music at any point in time, then it would just be as a totally different, brand, or even you as an independent musician? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, that was the thought. Okay. I didn't even know if I was ever going to do music again. Like, I like to say at the time when, I was wrapped up in it, that rock and roll broke my heart. It was just, I felt like towards the end we were so often just trying to write the next single that it got lost as to why we began doing this in the first place, which made me resent music. And yeah, when we walked away, I wanted to do something different, completely get out of that world, raise my family, not depending on music as, my livelihood anymore. And it was only when I was able to actually do that and successful doing something outside of music that I started to gravitate naturally back to music as really, it was cathartic because it was therapy again. It wasn't me trying to get together and write, some single that a bunch of record label executives want to tell you that, well, this is the way you got to do it. And it's like, well, if you guys knew how to do this, you would be doing it. So,
right. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I never had plans to do music again, really.
Wow.
And, when it got back to writing, it wasn't even in the beginning. It was just jotting down things I was feeling again, and the familiarity there. And then it turned into, all right, me uncasing the guitars that I'd put away in the attic and, playing again, and just being like, well, this is that feeling that I had when I was 14, 15 years old, getting into music for the first time. Here we are again. And, yeah, man, that's, when Ryan and I started writing together again, especially, is when I was like, man, there's still something here. There's still something here that's, needs to be uncased.
All right. I'm glad you brought that up because obviously, there's some turnover in the band. This version of the band that you have back now with Envy. Everybody, again, we're here with Nixon from Framing Hanley. Envy came out just a little bit over a week ago. I did a full review on it. If you're curious about that, go out to rocktitan.tv and check it out. I loved it. It's awesome. Certainly an awesome follow-up from the Sum of Who We Are. And obviously it's different because it's not the same guys except for Ryan. So when you guys did step away, a while back, how was Ryan about the whole thing? Because now you guys are back at it again, so obviously you made the commitment to one another that you were going to, bring this back as Framing Hanley and not something different. Was he kind of on the same page as you way back when, or was there a little bit of, was there any angst at all?
No, absolutely. I feel like, probably him even, I think all of us,
yeah,
for sure we're on the same page.
Okay.
It wasn't just Ryan and I, it was, all of us felt, like this is over. The wheels had fallen off. We just didn't have that passion anymore. I remember, like, dude, the last couple tours we did, it was just like something out of a freaking National Lampoon movie or something. Like everything that could go, it was like I was a Ben Stiller character. Everything that could have gone wrong toward the end was going wrong. So it felt good when he and I started writing again. So I'd gotten very much into Jason Isbell. I think is the greatest songwriter in the world to this, like, alive right now. Okay. And he used to be in Drive By Truckers. It's more like, I wouldn't say country, but it's like rock country. And I'd gotten more into that realm where I was like, man, and that's what Ryan and I originally got together writing stuff. Like there's a few songs that we still almost snuck onto this album. And I was just like, I don't know if it fits. But Maeve was the first song that was just like us turning the gain level up on the amp and, like, and I was like, wow, we're writing rock songs again. This is this feels like FH, and why wouldn't we release this to a fan base that knew us as a band that, everything. Ryan and I were always the principal songwriters,
Right.
since he joined the band for A Promise to Burn. So it was just like, let's give this, to the fans that are already familiar with what we do, and what we do with our brains together when we're writing music, and it just naturally happened, man. It was never. That's again what like makes me smile right now talking about it, is just knowing that it was never something we planned. It was never something that I think we even envisioned as a possibility, and then for it to happen, you're just like, well, it's happening for all the right reasons this time.
Okay. All right. Very interesting. Now, let me ask, was there any apprehension, coming back, that you'd kind of be able to pick up where you left off? Was there any, you know, anxiety that maybe you lost some of that fan base?
Oh, I mean, for sure.
Yeah.
The attention span nowadays is terrible. It's for, with all the apps we have, and that we're living on our phones, and there's a new great artist like every other week that comes out now. That Billie Eilish wasn't around 5 years ago, and now she's one of the hottest things, and deservedly so. I'm a huge fan of hers.
Really? Are you a Billie Eilish fan? I
Dude,
was just listening to her
absolutely,
with my wife earlier, man, and
dude. I don't
she's
think
talented.
we've
She's a
seen.
talented artist. She's a talented artist, but it's like it's just such a different style. You know what I mean? Like you're
Oh,
either
for
into it or
sure.
you're not. You know?
You should check out. What was she put out like an EP? It's yellow. It's got a song called Bellyache on there. It was right before this album that blew up, and that's what made me a fan. I saw her and her brother Phineas performing at like this. It was this like live session, and I was like, "Who is this?" And they just sang. And Phineas is the secret weapon there that a lot of people don't realize. He's her brother, writes with her on everything, produces everything. He's just nerding out real quick, kind of the way we went through that Pharrell Williams back in the night or in the early 2000s. We went through that Pharrell Williams, and then Ryan Tedder from One Republic was working with all
Oh
these
yeah.
artists at radio. Phineas is already becoming that guy right now for music. I think that I saw an interaction on Instagram with Jared Leto and him, so I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up doing some 30 Seconds to Mars stuff soon. Um,
Wow. All
he's
right.
he's he's incredible. So all that to say, like, yeah, I knew that we weren't. There were going to be a lot of people that had moved on, and dude, we still get every time we post something on Facebook, like, what, you guys are back? Like anytime I make a post, and that has a lot to do with how big of crooks Facebook are, that you can't even reach your audience and fan base, without spending tons of money to do so. But that's for another day.
You don't say. You don't say, Nixon. Yeah, no, man, I know. Being in the media, all that stuff, it's painful. I mean, where things were so organic at one time, and you could have that viral effect. Now it's
I miss
like,
MySpace, man.
right, like what you
That was
said. I
the
mean,
best
unless you're
thing
paying
ever.
for it.
MySpace was the best thing ever for bands, and we didn't realize it at the time. And now, looking back, it's like, damn, man, that is, that was a part of the reason Framing Hanley took off in the beginning, is we were a MySpace band, as they said, back in the day. That that's where we gained a lot of our notoriety and fan base. So all this to say, man, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't give a damn. Like, we just put out an album that I know is the best work that we've ever done, and that I know I can hang my hat on at the end of the day and be very proud of, if it is the last thing I do, under the moniker Framing Hanley. And if people don't hear it, or don't even like it for that matter, which thankfully it's been the opposite. It's been overwhelmingly positive, the feedback we've heard. But I didn't do this album for that. I did this album to be like, man, let's just make a kick-ass rock album from track one to the end of the album that we just know is like this thing. There wasn't an album or a track on there that was a filler track. It was just us getting together and playing music again for the right reasons, and just not, there was no deadline, just not stopping until we're like, we've got the album that we want to release. And that's what we did. And, we're not here to compete with the big dogs. That's not what this is about anymore. Like, I just want to release music, still be at home with my family as much as possible, get out there and play some shows, obviously, but never for it to become like, this is my job again, because that's when it became not fun.
Spoken like a true artist. Nixon, I love it, man. I'll tell you what, like, obviously you and I had never met before. I respected you as a musician just because I enjoy your music. But
Thank
now
you,
I
man.
have to say I respect you as a person. That is
Thank you, man.
so absolutely well said. And I hope that resonates with your fan base as well as other musicians in the scene today because that is too true, man.
Well, I could say, as much as I give all these superlatives about all these other musicians out there, there are a lot of those bands that are out there doing it right now for all the wrong reasons, and I
Mm,
feel like people are too smart for that nowadays, man. Like it's obvious when you're that band, and the right. It sucks because you're going to see a lot more bands that are walking away because they don't feel like that. I can't speak to why, but there was it Red Sun Rising, I think, that just announced. I don't want to screw that
yeah,
up.
no, 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 yeah.
I
No,
think it was. I think they just there's it was a great band in that scene, and they didn't. I don't know why they walked away. That's not for me to say, but like you could probably start seeing a lot more casualties of the music industry because we want to have that feeling we had when we picked up a guitar for the first time. At least speaking from my experience, and I think that really it starts with just people doing a better job of actually, being present and paying attention to those artists. And when they come to your town, it's easy to be that guy who's 3 days later, like, when are you guys coming to Jackson? We're like, dude, we were just there. Like, I get it. We're all busy people, but like,
right.
that's the one thing that a fan can do to really change that and keep those bands around. So you're not seeing, it's crazy that here we are right now, doing what we're doing, and right at the same time, you've got all these other bands, which probably works out to our favor, but all these bands are all coming back right now at this exact time, and that kind of probably helps, gain a little more awareness of the fact that we are releasing a new album. But it's like it's also indicative of just like hopefully it is a lot of these other artists just not being about a cash grab, but instead being like, man, I miss this. And I love hanging with my brothers when we're in this room and playing music together. And I love being on that stage and that energy, but I love creating. And I'm a creator, man. I'm a creator. That's on this album. I got to dive in on the production side more than I ever have. And like, it was just, it's reinvigorating, man. Like we're only scratching the surface, which is awesome to say because here we are 10 years or 13 years later. And we're about to release some stuff later this year that's going to blow everything on this album away.
Really? Wow. So you really have been writing. You've already got stuff in the in the cache right after
Yes,
Envy. Wow, man. That's
and I
awesome.
don't know that who knows. Like with the model now, like you don't. There's no rule again that you don't have to release an album. So we might just do singles. We put out Puzzle Pieces July I think of 2018, and the album comes out February of 2020. And in that time, dude, Puzzle Pieces generated over 14 million streams
Right.
organically. A lot
Right.
of people, I guarantee you, on Spotify don't even know that that's Framing Hanley. They just hear a song that they like, they add it. That's the
Right.
attention span thing. So it's like I'm not trying to capture lightning in a bottle like that. That I'm too old for that. Like I'm just putting music out there, and if something sticks, it sticks. But it's like I want to do something that my kids can listen to years from now and be like, man, Dad, that was some cool shit, or that's cool stuff.
That's very cool. I actually had an experience like that, very similar the other night. I had the blessed opportunity to be at a UFO show because they are on their very last tour.
Oh
They
yeah,
are riding off into the sunset. Phil Mogg, he's on the other side of 70 now, and he's like, it's been a good run. We've been playing 50 years, longer than you or I
right.
have even been alive.
Yeah.
And but the lead guitarist Vinny Moore, a friend of mine, his sons were both there. And it was so awesome to see his boys watching their dad because to them, he's just dad. And
Yeah.
everyone else like reveres this dude because
Yeah.
the things he can do with a guitar is just he's one of the best guitarists on the planet. I mean, he just is. But they don't know that. They don't see him that way. Although they do
Oh, it's
appreciate.
Dad to them. Yeah.
Right, but they do appreciate his art all the same. They know he's a good musician and they love his music. And I guess would it be safe to say that that's the same kind of thing you would like to have for your children, just for them to
Oh,
know you as dad, but at the same time have an appreciation for what it is that you're doing?
hopefully, for sure.
Yeah.
I hope my kids don't look at this 10 years from now and be like, oh, that's embarrassing.
You suck,
My,
Dad.
yeah, my oldest is very much into like hip hop,
All right.
which like I can't really talk to him about good hip hop yet. He's too young for that. So I went, very much a hip hop phase. If you look, I posted on Instagram my favorite albums in 2019. I think I did 19 albums of 19, and I think 11 of them were hip hop records released last year. So it's like, yes, I hope at the end of the day, when this is all said and done, that my kids can listen to this and be like, oh, Dad did some pretty cool stuff. But, because it's kind of funny you brought that up, or I guess I brought it up initially. But yeah, during the first couple years after we went on, I guess what's now should be referred to as a hiatus, not breaking up.
Right.
That experience with my kids was going to WWE wrestling. I grew up. That was my first love, was wrestling, and Nashville, Tennessee is a wrestling city.
Right on.
And I went to the fairgrounds with my great grandfather when I was a kid, and we'd go every Saturday and watch Jerry Lawler, all these wrestlers like growing up. And then I was fortunate enough, through my fandom, to become friends with a lot of these wrestlers, guys like Chris Jericho, and
I
then
was just going to ask you about Jericho.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Jericho, Jeff Hardy's another really good friend of mine. Like, so to go, they're obviously spoiled in this realm where they're going and experience this with much better tickets than I would have had at their age. But still, like, that was our bond initially. And then when I felt I for sure there was a point during that that breakup that they got into music, and I was just pushing them more to sports instead, because I had this disdain for the way that everything ended for me, and it was selfish as hell. But wrestling became that thing, and then as I started to write again, I was just like, man, it would be cool to experience that with what my love is, the same way that my wife, like I said, with soccer, I'm sure feels about our kids playing soccer. And yeah, man, it's really cool. I can't my my oldest also, like, well, I said, he's a hip hop kid. Like, he also has an incredible voice, so I can't wait to start writing with him.
Right
Let
on.
me raise the next Bieber.
That's so cool, man. That is so cool. Well, it sounds to me, Nixon, like you really have found yourself again. I mean, like this break that you took was like, it seems like it was just such a just recharging the
Yep,
batteries more than anything
absolutely,
else.
absolutely. And
That's
it wasn't even, it was a reset, but it was like a necessary reset. Or this would, if we waited until everything just, like, really the wheels did fall off and everything just, like, I don't know, you and I wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation right now.
right.
And it's really sad to think, just because I dealt with depression like I'd never dealt with as well during that break. And it's sad to think, like, if I didn't pick a pen back up, and if I didn't start writing again, just like where everything could have gone. And while I walked away for my family, they probably would have been a casualty of my life just crumbling, because I didn't have that one outlet and that one release that I had my entire life.
Interesting. Yeah. So would you say that you find that to be, therapeutic for you then, just
Absolutely.
songwriting? Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what Puzzle Piece is about.
Right on.
Um, I was on, antidepressants, and I'm not here to say that that's stuff that people don't need, because obviously it works wonders for people. It did for me, but I just felt like for the
Right.
first time in my life, I became to, I needed that to be happy when I have these three beautiful kids,
Right.
um,
Right.
and it just, when I finally started writing down what I was thinking again, that just kind of spilled out, and I was just like, oh, this is the power of the sword. Like, the pen is mightier than the sword. It's like it did seem to start fixing things that I couldn't control otherwise, without medicine. So
Right on, right on. Yeah, I wouldn't. I was trying to catch up with Scott Stapp not too long ago to kind of get his take on it, because I do find it interesting that so many musicians, just people in entertainment in general. I mean, yeah, depression seems to be this big, huge umbrella label that everyone just, kind of stamps on it. The way I kind of like to look at it, because I deal with it myself, is just that we feel things so deeply. We're so emotional. Things affect us in such radical ways. It's not like anything, when things happen, we don't just brush them off. Like, things really, really affect us,
Yeah,
whether it's good or whether it's bad. So I just find that that's really interesting. But then having your creative outlet, like, you're a musician, you have your songwriting and playing music. For me, it's journalism and, being able to just, have awesome conversations with people like yourself and share that with the public. I mean, for me,
it's vital,
that's,
man.
it is. I mean, it's like breathing, I don't know
Yeah.
what we would do without it, but
And we're lucky to have found that in our lives, because there are a lot of
yeah,
people that spend their whole life trying to find that release, and then unfortunately, it doesn't always happen. And I kind of took that for granted,
for
just
sure.
because like when we started this interview, I said I said that rock and roll broke my heart, and now I see it was the rock and roll industry, the music industry broke my heart.
Yeah,
It wasn't music. I
right.
was doing it for the wrong reasons, and that's all changed now, man. And it feels like I'm obviously I'm doing it for the right reasons now, but it feels like I had to have had that reset to be at this point in my life, even beyond music, but be at this point in my life period to where I just feel refreshed. I
Right
feel
on,
refreshed,
man. Oh,
recharged.
man, that's so great to hear. That is so great to hear. And I mean, looking at Envy, and you talking about the songwriting process a bit, and just the feelings and the emotion and the experiences, that you've taken out of life over these last few years, and putting that into your music with Ryan. Now that we're having this conversation, and I'm looking over the titles of the songs. Like, I have my interpretation of it, but I think that's the beautiful thing about music. Like, multiple people can listen to one song and all pull something different from it. And obviously, you may, as the author, had a different meaning for maybe how I took it. But I think the title says a lot at this point. I'm looking at, like, Joke's on Us.
Mm-hmm.
Forgiveness is an art. Carousel. They're so symbolic for, everything that you've really been dealing with
Oh,
as a human
absolutely,
being.
absolutely.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I know you've got better things to do this evening, and you've got practice coming up here with the guys, and not too long from now. I know you got some
So
rehearsal stuff that you want to do. But so Envy, it's been out a little over a week. The reception has been majoritively positive. You were saying a little while ago that you don't necessarily want this to become a career again, but let's just say that the demand is there, and you do have a huge fan base. If you have the opportunity to go out there and make a living as a musician, is that kind of a chance or a risk? Because it is such a fickle business, like you said. It's crazy, it's hard, and nowadays you have to tour. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no two ways about it. And you've got kids, that you want to be there for every part of their life that you can. But can you see making a run at this and making a real good, awesome living as the front man for Framing Hanley?
If it I don't. I mean, what's an awesome living anymore?
To be
At what
comfortable,
level of
to be
at what but
comfortable.
what at what level of sacrifice because of financial gain are you comfortable? I just feel like it's one of those things. Not to dance around that question, but
Yeah, yeah.
I'm very fortunate to be where I'm at right now.
Okay.
Career wise, outside of music,
Okay.
to where. But I think we'll know. I think if that opportunity presents itself. Think we're a lot smarter in a lot of ways now. I'll say that financially, being one of them. Getting the books right, making sure that things are fair across the board. Oh man, I'm gonna get myself in trouble when I come
Yeah,
to that.
yeah. I don't want to get that.
Uh,
Well, no, but no. I mean, but there is. I mean, that's the
there's no like money hungry label or anything, and that's not to
yeah.
say that everyone we ever
Right.
worked with was that, but it's there's not as many hands in the pot right now. So when that opportunity were to arise, like I'm not going to say no. If we have a chance to go out there and do a sold out tour supporting, that's a big thing too. Is I am very much interested in getting out there and supporting other bands, because for so long we were just headlining, and the one way you are going to introduce your music to other fans and grow your fan base is how? By introducing your music to people who've never heard your damn music, by playing with other bands. And we never really had that. We had a lot of, again, the wrong people that were just, well, the money we make is more if we go out and headline. And then that means my percent is more if you go out and headline. And then instead of doing this, which we were good about doing in the beginning, growing that on our own organically,
Right.
instead, you hit this bubble, and then it just starts to kind of do this until it's so much freaking pressure on the artists and the creators to where you're just like, man, this isn't worth it anymore. So all that to say, I'm not saying that I'm not interested in, in if this were to become a full-time career again, I especially with this group of guys.
Right on.
That change, that's a big game changer as well. It's like to be in a room, and that's not a jab at anyone that I've been in a band with over the years, but to be in a room with these dudes and to create with these dudes and to be as inspired as I am while creating with these dudes, that's a big part of it as well. And another reason why I said, like, wait till you hear the stuff that we end up releasing later this year. It's like, just like we already have different versions of some of these songs in this album that are just like, I can't wait to get in and track, and people just be like, what? And it's that has a lot to do again with the guys that I'm writing with, but also just seeing other musicians that you are a fan of do stuff like that as well. Bring Me the Horizon is one of those bands to where you see that they flipped the script with that last album, and then they're doing new versions and stuff that you're just like, oh man, cool. Like you don't have to stop creating just because something's recorded. You can go back. That's your art. You can go back and do whatever you want to with that. So yeah, man, we'll see where this leads. Right now, there's no expectations, which is another very liberating part of all of this.
Well, it sounds like you have grown as a person tremendously. And when I say person, I mean everything that you are. The musician, the family man, the businessman, just the human being, since the sum of who we are, man, the sum of who you are has definitely evolved quite a bit. And it is...
A little bit, hopefully.
Yeah. No, man, it's awesome. So touring-wise, do we have any plans? The summer's going to be here before we know it, man. Live Nation's going to be digging into everybody's pockets,
So we just had the album release show here in town. It was a dream. I don't even know how to explain that night. It was euphoria just to be up there. And we've been playing shows off and on here over the last couple of years, but that was something special. So
awesome.
That's why we're here tonight at a rehearsal space. Is we're going to start reshaping the set after putting that together and playing a lot of the songs for the first time live. And then you're just like, oh man, that's way too late in the set to be singing Jokes on Us. We got to move that up earlier. That's a lot. My breathing's gone by then. So tonight we're going to work on, reshaping the set list. We've got a few shows coming up in a couple weeks. I believe we're in Cincinnati at Riverfront Live, Flint, Michigan at Machine Shop, which is our favorite spot in the U.S. to play, and then Chicago at Cubby Bear. So and then I don't know, we got some summer dates, sporadically. It's different now, It's like that whole, like we're not looking to just go out and be gone for, months at a time, because we don't have to. We don't have to. There's no one that can tell me I have to.
Right. Well, we got to get you out east, man. I got to see you out here, like either at the Queen, down in Wilmington, Delaware, or maybe the Chameleon, over in Lancaster. I would love to see you guys out in that neck of the woods, Or, of course, there's plenty of venues in Philly, but parking sucks,
We never play, man. We play Lancaster. We play Chameleon a lot.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, we played there. I love that venue.
It's cool. Yeah.
We one of the last tours we did before the hiatus, we had a badass show at that spot.
Right on, man.
But I think we're coming up to Maryland in August.
That's close enough. That's close enough. I am within 10 minutes of being able to put a body part in Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Maryland all at the same time.
That's awesome.
That's literally where I live. But, oh, man, Nixon, what? I could talk to you all day, man. Jeez, you're talking about, like being an opener, having been the headliner, for, such a good long period of time. I'll tell you what, it'd be cool, because just talking to our mutual friend Zach Dubois down there from The Sacred, like they could support you guys, and then maybe you guys support like Hailstorm or something, because I know Lizzie Hale and all, they seem to be in like Nashville all the time. You know?
It's yeah, I think she might live here now, but
Yeah, that'd be
yeah,
pretty
I
cool.
mean, there are a few of those bands now that
Yeah.
just like, Biffy Clyro is the one band that we would all like just like salivate over sharing the stage with that band. I think that's the best band in rock and roll that unfortunately a lot of people here in this country don't even know about. So you
Right
guys
on.
should go. I'm going to plug them right now. Go listen to their new single, Instant History. It's
Okay.
incredible.
All right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's hopefully we see some of those opportunities. If not, again, like I'm gonna have fun just like I did in Nashville on February 22nd when we had the album release show. I'm gonna have fun being on stage again and playing songs that 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 aren't trite. Like, well, this is what we're doing. And that, again, that's not an indictment at our catalog, but there are some of those songs for sure that
Yeah.
we play every night. I'm sure you can guess a couple of them that it's just like, we have to play that, don't we? And there's nothing on this freaking album
Can you hear
that
me
we feel
now?
like
I'm
that
not gonna
about.
lie. Can you hear me now? It's like, yeah, it's. I love that music video, man. Music videos. We got any music videos coming out? Any new official music videos that are going to be
We'll
supporting Envy?
we'll see. And that definitely wasn't a knock at Hear Me Now. I think that's one of our songs from our past that just different circumstances probably would have been
Sure.
a much bigger deal in our career. I love that. That song's a very special song to me. Video, yeah, we got a couple things in the works. My boy Zach Sorensen and I have some pretty cool ideas. It's just a matter of what song we're going to do it for. And right now, we've been looking at Bubbles, but
Oh, all
who
right.
knows? Who knows?
Yeah. Well,
Why? What would you say? What song would you say?
You know what? I'll be honest with you. What did I say? I think I actually touched on it in my review. I'll have to go look. What did I say? I don't want to take
Throwing
up too
throwing
much time.
knives was it?
I don't want to pull anything away from anybody. Yeah, throwing knives would be cool. What did I say? Well, I thought Counterfeit was actually really cool. I thought that would
Oh,
actually fit. Yeah, I thought that would actually be like a great soundtrack for like a young adult TV series or something
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
that. So I was thinking about that, and
That and Carousel. Nick, our guitar player, has always said that sounds like a soundtrack song to him. But we'll
that
see. I
that is
mean,
the one that I kind of targeted. That is the one
was
that I targeted. Yeah, yeah,
Carousel was?
yeah. Carousel.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's literally Nick has said that since we first recorded that song. So that's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah,
I think I
yeah.
remember that because I think I remember telling him like, "Yo, they actually mentioned Carousel in a soundtrack as well," and he's like, "I told you, man. I told you."
Yeah, now that's fun though, man. That's cool. That's cool. All right. Well, man, I'm going to keep rambling on, and everybody's probably sick of listening to me right now, although everyone could probably listen to you forever, man. I got to have you back on the show. I definitely got to
Absolutely,
have you
man.
back on. It has been
We
so
come up.
awesome talking to you, man. And
Thank you.
yeah, maybe
Likewise.
I'll have to come down there to Nashville. Again, I know Mr. Dubois, who has been a co-host on Rock Titan Live a number of times. But then he's got his thing with the Sacred, so he doesn't have as much time to jabber jaw with me anymore. But he's always like, dude, you got to come down Nashville. You got to come down
Yeah.
Nashville. This is where it's at because he was up in Jersey and then he left Jersey and went back down there because that's like really where home is for him. And I've never been to Nashville. I have never
Yeah,
been to
you're missing
Nashville.
out, man. You need to change that.
I know, I know. So everybody, guess what? You're gonna be happy to hear. I'm done. I'm done right now. I'm not gonna talk anymore, even though I could. All right. But we are here with Nixon from Framing Hanley. They got their brand new album Envy that just came out a little over a week ago. Go check it out. It's awesome. Don't stream it. Buy it. All right. Go out to Amazon. Buy it because we would love to see Nixon and the guys be able to make a career out of their amazing music, once again. No regular 9 to 5ers. Let's get these guys, making music on a regular basis as they should. Nixon, thanks so much for joining me on the show, man.
Thank you, Scotty.
All
Good
right.
talk, man.
All right, Scotty J, Rock Titan Live. We're out.